Caleb's popping the cork on a vintage bottle of Dom Perignon right now, laughing, talking to his own reflection in the hallway mirror like he just won the lottery. He keeps saying it over and over like a mantra. I'm finally free of the dead weight. That dead weight? Yeah, that's me. The divorce papers he just tossed at my feet. He thinks that signature is a golden key. A straight shot to a $210 million empire. In his mind, this is the moment everything changes. The moment the universe finally recognizes his greatness. But here's the part he doesn't see coming. That ink didn't unlock anything. It set the whole thing on fire. He's pacing now, champagne sloshing over the rim of the glass. Already spending money that isn't his yet. Talking about penthouses. Talking about legacy. Talking about how people are finally going to respect him. He says my name like it tastes bitter. Stella held me back, he laughs. Always playing it safe. Always scared. What he calls fear was actually restraint. What he calls dead weight was the only thing keeping him upright. Because for years, I was the quiet one. The background noise. The person paying bills on time, smoothing things over, making sure the lights stayed on while he dreamed out loud. He never noticed that every bridge he crossed had my fingerprints on it. He never asked why the doors opened so easily. He just assumed it was destiny. Now he's celebrating in an empty apartment, toasting to a future that only exists in his head. The bubbles rise. The foam settles. And with every second that passes, the clock is running out. Because when the champagne goes flat and the adrenaline wears off, reality is going to hit hard. Caleb won't be a mogul. He won't be powerful. He'll be confused, broke in ways money can't fix, standing alone, wondering how it all slipped through his fingers. And years from now, people won't argue about what he lost. They'll just lower their voices, shake their heads, and say, yeah, he almost had everything. The cork explodes out of the bottle and slams into the cheap plaster ceiling, the same apartment I've paid for every single month for the last 4 years. Caleb doesn't even blink. He just watches the champagne foam crawl over the rim, slow and careless, grinning like a shark that just caught the scent of blood. 210 million, Stella, he says, almost under his breath like a secret. Do you even get what that kind of liquidity does to a person? He swigs straight from the bottle. No glass. No class. Just ego. It bends reality, he goes on, pacing the room. Rules stop applying. Gravity loosens its grip. The world starts leaning toward you. He laughs like he cracked some cosmic code. I stand there, silent. Not because I'm scared, but because I'm finally seeing him clearly. He doesn't offer me a glass. Doesn't ask if I want one. Doesn't even look my way. To him, I'm already gone. Already erased. This moment, this drink, this speech. That's him crowning himself king. But here's the thing about men like Caleb. They confuse money with power. And noise with strength. He thinks wealth is a force field. That once you cross a certain number, nothing can touch you. What he doesn't realize is that the same money he's celebrating is about to expose every weakness he's been hiding. Because when the world stops leaning toward you, it doesn't just straighten out. It pushes back. Hard. And Caleb? He's standing right in the way. He walks past me like I'm furniture. Not angry. Not rushed. Just done with me. The divorce petition sits on the kitchen island between us. Thick, crisp, official. Like a loaded gun nobody's pretending isn't real. You should probably start packing, he says, casual as weather talk. I'm listing this place on Monday.
No pause. No explanation.
Like he's talking to a roommate who overstayed their welcome. Then he smirks. I'd let you keep it, but honestly? He looks around, nostrils flaring. You look depressing in it. He sniffs the air like he's offended. Smells like budget detergent and mediocrity. That's when I really look at him. Not the man I married. The man standing in front of me now. Black suit. Tailored. Sharp. Costs more than my car. Bought with a credit card he opened. In my name. 3 months ago. Hair flawless. Skin glowing. That polished, well-fed look of someone who's never once panicked over a late payment because someone else always handled it. He doesn't look powerful. He looks propped up. Caleb, I say, calm.
Steady.
We buried your father 4 hours ago. He keeps walking. The dirt isn't even settled yet. He waves me off like I'm interrupting a meeting. Conrad was great, sure, he says. But let's not romanticize it. He leans against the counter, finally facing me. He sat on capital. Did nothing with it. Just watched numbers grow like that was a personality. I feel my jaw tighten. That was your father. Caleb rolls his eyes. That was inefficiency. Then he smiles. Small, sharp, dangerous. I'm going to liberate it. That's the moment something clicks. Not breaks.
Clicks.
Because that sentence doesn't sound like ambition. It sounds like theft with better PR. I search his face for hesitation. For grief. For something human. There's nothing there. Just hunger. He starts pacing again, warming up to his own voice. You know what my dad never understood? Timing. He taps the divorce papers. This is perfect timing. I say nothing. I don't argue. I don't defend myself. And that seems to annoy him more than anything. He stops in front of me. You're not mad. I'm listening. I say.
He scoffs.
Figures. You always did things small. He gestures around the apartment. Look at this place.
Safe. Boring.
Predictable. Then at me. You built a life designed not to fail.
He leans in.
I'm built to win. I almost laugh. Because men who are built to win
don't need to announce it.
They don't need to crush someone on the way out. Just to feel tall. He turns away, satisfied, already mentally spending money he hasn't touched. You've got the weekend, he calls over his shoulder. Take whatever's yours. I look at the divorce papers again. Still untouched. Still waiting. And for the first time since all of this started, I don't feel dismissed. I feel informed. Because now I understand something crystal clear. Caleb doesn't see people. He sees resources. And the second he decides you're depleted, you're disposable. What he doesn't realize, he just misidentified. The most valuable asset. In the room. That's when it hit me. Not like a punch. Like cold water. Caleb didn't grieve his father. He waited for him. I replayed the last few months in my head. And suddenly, everything lined up. The hospital visits that were always too quick. The way he checked his watch during doctor updates. The fake concern. The forced sighs. He wasn't hoping for recovery.
He was tracking a countdown.
Every update wasn't medical to him. It was financial. Every day Conrad stayed alive was another day Caleb felt delayed. That's why there were no real tears. No shaking hands.
No sleepless nights.
Just impatience. Just irritation. Just that tight little smile people get when they're waiting for something owed to them. I remembered how he kept asking about documents, about passwords, about where things were kept. Not memories, not stories, assets. He treated his father's life like a pending transaction. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. The grief was an act. The devotion was staged. The love was conditional. Caleb wasn't a son saying goodbye. He was a man standing at the edge of a vault, tapping his foot, annoyed the door wouldn't open fast enough. That realization didn't make me angry. It made me alert, because people who wait for death
Don't stop there.
they don't mourn losses. They create them. And in that moment, standing in that kitchen, I knew something with absolute clarity. If he could wait for his own father to die, he wouldn't hesitate to destroy anything or anyone standing between him and what he thought was his. Caleb scrolling through real estate listings like he's live streaming his own future. Gold Coast penthouse, he says out loud, nodding to himself. 4,000 square feet, floor-to-ceiling glass, private elevator. He zooms in on photos like they're already his. Sunsets, balconies, empty rooms waiting to be filled with ego.
He's not talking to me.
He's hyping himself up, like a broke man rehearsing success. Then he looks up and catches me watching. You're staring, he says flatly. It's not a good look. He goes back to scrolling, unfazed. Let's not drag this out, Stella, he adds, tone smooth. We both know what this was. He leans closer, lowering his voice like he's doing me a favor. You were a utility. A bridge. A bridge. I needed someone stable, he continues. Someone predictable. Someone who paid the electric bill, while I mapped the big picture. He chuckles to himself. You did your job. Now the job's done. I don't move. Don't blink. He taps the divorce papers with 2 fingers, rhythmic. I filed before the funeral, he says. Fast-track divorce. No drama. Clean slate by next week. The words sit heavy in a room. I ask quietly, almost curious. You filed before we buried him? He doesn't even look embarrassed. He shrugs. Efficiency. Like he's talking about canceling a subscription. He keeps scrolling, momentum building. Look at this one, he says. Wraparound terrace. Imported marble. This is where winners live. That's when it hits me. This isn't arrogance. This is rehearsal. He's been practicing this version of himself for months, maybe years. The speeches, the justifications, the way he erases people. As soon as they stop being useful. I remember nights he worked late, phone face down, emails locked. That strange urgency whenever Conrad's health declined. This wasn't spontaneous. This was scheduled. You know what your problem is? He says suddenly. You're emotional. I almost laugh. You build relationships. I build leverage. He finally looks at me again, eyes sharp. You think loyalty matters. I think timing matters. He stands, adjusts his cufflinks, the ones I bought him for his birthday. This is how it works, he says. You align with resources until you outgrow them. Then he says the part he's clearly been waiting to say. My father was the last gate. You were just the hallway. Silence. Not awkward. Final. I look at him and realize something terrifying. There is no mask slipping. This is the face. The charm was the costume. The marriage was the cover story. This is who he is when he thinks he's already won. He goes back to his phone, bored now. You can Venmo me your half of the utilities, he says casually. Until you move out. I don't respond. Because the man standing in front of me isn't cruel for the sake of cruelty. He's cruel because he thinks he's right. And people like that don't stop until the world proves them wrong. He taps the phone screen one last time, smiling. Clean slate, he repeats. Feels good, doesn't it? I finally speak. It's efficient, I say. He nods, satisfied. What he doesn't realize, what he couldn't possibly imagine, is that efficiency cuts both ways. And soon, he's going to learn what it feels like to be processed out of a system he thought he controlled. You're built for the middle class, he says without blinking. I'm built for the stratosphere. The words land soft, but they cut deep. Not because they're true, but because of what they reveal. That sentence isn't confidence. It's insecurity dressed up in altitude. People who actually belong in high places don't need to look down to feel tall. In that moment, I stopped arguing in my head, stopped explaining, stopped hoping he'd snap out of it. Because I finally understood something simple and brutal. He didn't want a partner. He wanted contrast. Someone to stand next to, so he could feel elevated. The middle class wasn't an insult to him. It was a prop, a backdrop, something to step on. And suddenly, every comment made sense. Every joke that landed a little too sharp. Every, "I'm just being honest" excuse. This wasn't ambition. This was fear of being ordinary. I looked at him, the tailored suit, the rehearsed swagger, the man measuring his worth in square footage and commas, and felt nothing.
No anger. No heartbreak.
Just clarity. You can't save someone who thinks compassion is gravity and humility is weakness. That was the exact moment I let go. Not dramatically, not loudly, internally. Because once someone tells you they believe you're beneath them, your only real move is to stop standing there, trying to prove your height. That line didn't hurt me. It freed me. I tell him I'll sign.
I'll pack.
I'll go. He laughs, sharp, barking like he just got a punchline only he can hear. "That's why I liked you, Stella," he sneers. "You know your place." I don't cry. I don't scream. I just feel it. A cold, heavy pressure in my chest, like a dam holding back a flood. Every fold of every shirt becomes a rhythm, a small rebellion against the chaos he's created. I fold the cashmere sweater he never appreciated, the blouse I wore on our first date, even the shoes he said were cheap. My mind drifts. 3 years. 3 years of pretending. 3 years of trying to see the man I fell in love with behind this polished mask. Because this isn't him. This is a monster wearing his face. I remember the first time we met. Palmer House, Hilton. Networking mixer for Chicago's next generation of leaders. I was there for visibility. He glided across the room like he owned it. A navy suit, a scotch in hand, a smile that could fool a camera. He said something about a plant I was inspecting. Something funny. Something human. Now, the laughter is gone. The charm evaporated. And yet, as I fold his shirts, pack his ridiculous gym bag, throw out the steamer he thinks he'll need, I realize something. I'm stronger than I thought. Calm in the eye of his storm. I can leave without tears. Because survival isn't dramatic.
It's silent.
It's deliberate. And right now, I am choosing me. Palmer House. Networking mixer. Bad wine in plastic cups. He glided in like the world bent for him.
Suit sharp, polished.
Smile, so practiced it could have been projected onto a screen. "I'm between exits," he said, extending a hand. Startups. Silicon Valley. Pausing his empire to care for his sick father. Perfect story. Perfect bait. I swallowed it whole. I was 35. Lonely. Tired of being the responsible one. Tired of cleaning up other people's messes. Caleb felt like fire. Wild, unpredictable. But noble fire, I thought. Risk I could admire. We talked for hours. Or maybe he talked. I listened. He spun dreams of apps that would disrupt logistics. Boutique consulting for high-net-worth individuals. I didn't know yet it was all smoke, all sketches on napkins, nothing real. And yet, I felt alive. He complimented my eyes. "They're intelligent," he said. "You see through the noise." I didn't see through him. Irony. I was a financial analyst trained to detect fraud, but I missed the Ponzi scheme standing right in front of me. I believed in the man he wasn't. the loner, the risk-taker, the man who could handle life like it was a game of chess. But Caleb?
He was playing checkers on a chessboard.
A master illusionist. That night, I left thinking maybe love could be this exciting. Maybe risk could be worth it. I was wrong. The truth hit me like lightning. All this chaos, the lies, the greed, the fake smiles, the only thing that had ever been real in my marriage? Conrad. Not Caleb. Not his empty promises. Conrad. My father-in-law. My mentor. My anchor in the storm. He was the only constant. The only person who saw through the smoke and mirrors. While Caleb played at being a man, a son, a husband, Conrad quietly built the foundation that Caleb would try and fail to destroy. And in that moment I knew. No amount of money, no fancy suit, no slick words could ever replace that. Conrad was my reality check, my truth, my North Star. Everything else? Just noise. Conrad drove a beat-up Buick. Cardigans older than Caleb's lies. A man who built empires but never needed to flaunt them. He taught me lessons Caleb never would. Finance isn't math, he said one quiet Sunday, peeling a clementine. It's psychology. Fear and greed. That's all it is. I frowned. And Caleb, all greed, he said softly. No fear. I swallowed. The weight of it hit me. He wasn't reckless. He was blind to the danger his own ambition could bring. Then Conrad reached across the table. His hand was small, worn, but his grip was firm. You're the anchor, Stella, he said. Without you, he floats or he pops. I looked into his eyes and saw the truth. Caleb was untethered, unchecked, a balloon filled with hot air. And I was the only thing keeping him from bursting. Every time I thought I was powerless in that marriage, I remembered Conrad's words. He believed in me when no one else did. And in that belief, I found my strength. 2 months ago, the illusion finally cracked. Not chipped, not scratched, shattered. Caleb gathered us in the living room like he was about to announce a miracle. Eyes glossy, voice low, hands folded like a saint in a painting. I'm stepping away from everything, he said. No more business. No more deals. Just family. He wiped his eyes. I'm moving in with Dad. Full-time caregiver. I'll bathe him, feed him, turn him, whatever it takes. Hero speech. Oscar-worthy. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. Because people don't fake devotion like that, right?
Wrong.
I found the truth by accident. I was looking for spare car keys. That's it. Nothing dramatic. I grabbed Caleb's gym bag, the one he never forgot to talk about. Leg day almost killed me. Up at 5 a.m. Grind never stops. I unzipped the side pocket.
No workout gloves.
No protein bars. Invoices. Stacks of them. Crumpled. Folded.
Hidden.
Private nursing services. Concierge care. 24/7 coverage. $800 a day. My stomach dropped. Then I read the instructions. Nurses must wear plain clothes. Hide in guest room when family visits. I sat on the floor.
Cold. Still.
Caleb wasn't caring for his father. He was outsourcing compassion, then stealing the applause. I waited. Didn't text. Didn't scream. I waited. He came home around 6. Shoulders slumped. Did a fake stretch like a bad actor. Man, he groaned. Lifting him all day wrecked my back. I didn't answer. He smiled. Dad was in great spirits, though. We played chess. I stood up. Walked to the coffee table. Dropped the invoices. They fanned out like evidence at a crime scene. The room went silent. Caleb froze. Not guilt. Calculation. He picked one up slowly. then looked at me. "What is this?" he asked, pretending. That's when I lost my grip. "You're lying to a dying man," I snapped. "You're stealing from him to fund your fake martyr act."
He didn't yell.
Didn't panic. He smiled. A calm, empty smile. "You went through my things," he said. That's what he chose to focus on. Then he walked into the kitchen, turned on the gas burner. I followed.
Heart pounding.
"What are you doing?" I whispered. He held the corner of the papers to the flame. The fire caught instantly. He dropped them into the sink, watched them burn, watched the truth curl into black ash.
Smiling.
"You're hysterical," he said smoothly. "These were just quotes. Old ones." I stared. "You're imagining things," he continued. "You're jealous of my bond with my father." Jealous. That's what he called it. Then he turned on the faucet, washed the ashes down the drain.
Gone.
"I'm telling him," I said, grabbing my phone. "I'm telling Conrad everything." Caleb moved fast, blocked the door, leaned in close. His voice dropped. "Go ahead," he said. "Tell a dying man his son is a fraud." Then he smiled wider. "Stress him out. Kill him." My blood ran cold. "That's on you," he added. "Not me." That was the moment I understood. This man didn't just lack morals. He had no bottom, no floor, no line he wouldn't cross if it protected the illusion. I couldn't tell Conrad.
He was weak.
His heart was failing. And without the invoices, it was my word against his performance. Caleb knew it. That's why he slept so easy that night. I carried that secret for 2 months.
Like a stone in my chest.
Every smile forced. Every dinner fake. Because monsters don't always roar. Sometimes they whisper. And smile. That's when I stopped seeing Caleb as reckless. He wasn't reckless. He was dangerous. Calculated. Empty. And I finally understood something terrifying. If money ever landed in his hands, it wouldn't make him better. It would just make him faster. What I didn't know back then, Conrad already knew. Every lie Caleb spun, every stolen moment of care, every burned invoice. He saw it all, and he let me carry the weight, like I was protecting him, when really I was protecting the truth. Conrad wasn't helpless. He wasn't blind. He was waiting, waiting for the right move, waiting for the moment the mask fell. Because sometimes the real power doesn't scream. It watches. It waits. It sets the stage for justice. And when the time comes, even the loudest monster can't run from the truth.
Cold.
Miserable. Chicago rain. I was drenched, shivering, while Caleb angled that giant black umbrella right at me. Not a single drop touched him. Not a single hint of grief in his eyes. He was scrolling Lamborghini matte finish options on his phone during the rabbi's prayer. And then he stepped up for the eulogy. No notes.
No humility.
Just bravado and showmanship. "My father was a giant," he boomed. "He taught me everything about business, the hustle. To make an omelet, you gotta break some eggs. I'm taking the empire to the moon." Came empire, baby. R.I.P., Dad. The crowd shifted uncomfortably. Conrad wasn't a killer in the boardroom. He was a builder of people, of communities, of trust. Then I felt it, a tap on my elbow. Mrs. Ramirez, 80 years old, tougher than reinforced concrete. She leaned in, voice low. "That boy is a waste of good carbon." Before I could speak, she pressed something into my hand. Conrad's journal. Leather-bound. Sacred. "Watch the fireworks," she whispered, eyes darting to Caleb. I tucked it into my purse, heart pounding. The man standing over the grave? He was all performance. All smoke and mirrors. And for the first time in years, I had a secret he could never touch. Back in the apartment, Caleb sat at the dining table, looking calm, too calm. A shiny new document in front of him, a sly grin spreading across his face. "This is for your own good," he said, smooth. "Protecting you from my debt." I picked it up, scanned the small print. Paragraphs stacked like a legal tower. Waiving inheritance rights. Preemptive strike. He almost had me. Almost. I ripped that paper. Tore it in half. Then in quarters. Confetti in his face. Caleb went nuclear. Red in the face. Veins popping. "You paranoid B**********H. I was trying to help you," he screamed. "Help me?" I snapped. "You tried to cheat me. Again. I see through you, Caleb." He lunged, tried to grab me. I held my ground. "You're out," I said. "Out of my house. Out of my life." I grabbed my suitcase, walked to the door, slammed it shut. The sound echoed. Final.
Clean.
For the first time in years, I was untouchable. Caleb walked in like he owned the place. Strutted, chest out, $210 million glinting in his eyes. Swagger like a king. Dexter cleared his throat, opened the will, and then dropped the bomb. "The entirety of the estate is bequeathed to Caleb Campbell, provided he remains lawfully married to and cohabitating with his wife, Stella Campbell, for 1 year following my death." The room froze. Air went zero. Caleb's face drained of color. "Wait, what?" he whispered, voice cracking. Dexter didn't flinch. "You filed for divorce yesterday, Mr. Campbell. Petition 2024, D8991. You initiated dissolution before the funeral." Caleb's jaw dropped. Eyes wild. Hands shaking. No, that can't be. We're not divorcing. It's a mistake. It was a joke." Dexter's voice cut through. Subsection B. In the event the marriage is dissolved, the entirety of the estate is transferred immediately to the Haven Legacy Foundation. Caleb blinked. Confusion. Rage. Financial literacy for underprivileged communities? He literally threw a hissy fit in a luxury office. Slammed fists. Screamed. "You manipulated me. Poisoned him against me." Dexter stayed calm. "You were never in control, Mr. Campbell. Conrad anticipated this." A large screen flickered on. Video message. Conrad, frail but sharp, looking right into the camera. "Caleb, if you're watching this, you're angry. You're blaming Stella." "Don't. She defended you. She protected me, and now she protects you. You have no anchor. Without her, you will crash." Caleb froze. The final lesson hit him harder than any boardroom loss ever could. Conrad's words echoed. "Wisdom over wealth, son. Always." He slumped in the chair. $210 million? Gone. But the lesson? Delivered. The room went deadly silent. Caleb's knees hit the plush carpet. Hard. Thud. "Stella, please, we can fix this. I'll change anything." His eyes were wild. Desperate. Almost cartoonishly broken, like a villain realizing the script finally turned against him. I looked down at him. Cool. Collected. "You could have had everything," I said, voice low but sharp. "All you had to do was value what you already had." It hit him like a punch. His mouth opened. No words.
No charm.
No power. Just defeat. 2 security guards stepped in.
Calm.
Methodical. "Mr. Campbell, please escort yourself out," Dexter said. Caleb tried to rise. Tried to claw back dignity. But his limbs were weak. His empire? Imaginary. They guided him to the door. He slumped against them, muttering, sputtering, screaming. My price. My deposit. My life. And then silence. No power. No money.
No spotlight.
just the cold reality of his own arrogance. I exhaled. Finally. Freedom tasted like air after storm. 6 months later, I stand at the front of a bright, sunlit classroom. Whiteboard filled with numbers, charts, and big bold letters. Asset versus liability. Who can tell me the difference? I ask. A young woman in the front row shoots her hand up. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out. Exactly. I smile. And I feel it, the calm after the storm.
This is my world now. No pretenses. No illusions. No Kalev.
He's somewhere else grinding. Working retail. Earning 10 grand the slow way. Every hour, every customer, every cracked screen protector. Reality check delivered. One transaction at a time. I don't gloat. I don't savor it like revenge. I feel balance. The universe set things right. I open Conrad's journal, the one Mrs. Ramirez handed me at the funeral. Flip to the last entry. If you are reading this, Stella, the storm has passed. Do not fear the rain, it washes everything clean. See you in the morning. I write below it. The rain stopped. The garden is growing. Thank you. I close the book, grab my bag, and step out into a Chicago afternoon bathed in honest sunlight. No more smoke.
No meters.
Just life, real, solid, mine. And for the first time in 4 years, I feel untouchable. Here's the hard truth. Burn it in. Greed without fear? It destroys everything it touches. The loudest people? Most of the time, they're empty inside. And here's the kicker. Sometimes, losing it all is the only way someone finally earns something real.
I know it now.
I've seen it. I lived it. So here's your takeaway. Value what you have before you lose it, and never let anyone else define your worth. If this story hit you, like, subscribe, or drop a single word in the comments, even just where you're watching from. Sometimes, one word is all it takes to say, I was here, and that's enough.